The Sheikah tribe's presence and influence in Breath of the Wild is undisputable, as they have constructed technologically advanced towers, shrines, and dungeons all throughout the land of Hyrule, and have brought life to much of Hyrule. The Sheikah have also designed a mechanical army of guardians and a glowing tablet known as the Sheikah Slate, which can activate both the towers and the shrines. But how did the Sheikah become so technologically advanced, and when did they start? For the many reasons that will follow, I believe the Sheikah civilization spoken of in Breath of the Wild is likely the same civilization that created the ancient robots, Beamos, Armos, and Centropes in the Lanayru Desert prior to and during the events in Skyward Sword. Let's get right into it. The radiant and vibrant blue aura that is found on Sheikah designed and constructed structures, artifacts, enemies like the Guardians, and weapons like the blue energy arrow is likely derived from the same material that was found in the technologically advanced Timeshift stones found in the Lanayru Desert area in Skyward Sword. These Timeshift stones, which are inscribed by glowing emblem resembling the Sheikah symbol, powered the various types of ancient robots as well as the machines they used, like minecarts in the Lanayru Desert, which was an arid region transformed into a desert over the course of several hundred years due to rapid climate forces. Prior to the desertification, this place was lush with greenery and an ancient civilization, which I believe were the Sheikah, established a quarry to mine the deposit of high-quality Timeshift stones. As I'll demonstrate, the technology that powered the various ancient robots prior to and during the events of Skyward Sword is likely the same technology that served as the basis for the Sheikah's design and construction of these towers, shrines, guardians, and artifacts in Breath of the Wild. In both Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword, there was a long dormant power that had not been utilized. In Skyward Sword, the various types of ancient robots were activated when a Timeshift stone was activated, which caused a temporal shift within an enclosed circular area, allowing everything to appear as it did in the same exact spot hundreds of years prior, effectively awakening a long dormant power. Similarly, in Breath of the Wild, when Link is up in the Great Plateau Tower and activates the tower, the old man tells Link that a long dormant power has suddenly awoken. In fact, upon Link's activation of the Great Plateau Tower using his Sheikah Slate, we can see many Sheikah Towers rising up from the ground, clearly demonstrating that a long dormant power has indeed awoken. This is very reminiscent to how the Lanayru mining facility rises up from the ground when Link activates the power generator's 3 power nodes, suggesting a similar technology is likely at play. Moreover, when the power generator of the Lanayru mining facility is activated, its outer parts light up and glow with the bright blue energy, very similar to how the outer part of the Sheikah Shrines light up with a bright blue color when they are activated, as well as the Sheikah Towers. It's notable that the old man refers to the Sheikah as an advanced civilization, which is very similar to how Hyrule Historia describes the ancient mechanical robots, which are referenced to as remnants of an ancient civilization. Even more, Fee tells us that an ancient civilization established a quarry to mine the deposit of Timeshift stones, again likely suggesting that the two civilizations may be one and the same. In addition, the Guardians we've seen from the Breath of the Wild are designed and constructed from the same mechanical component parts as the various ancient robots in the Lanayru Desert. Specifically, these Guardians typically drop 2 or 3 component parts, including an ancient gear, an ancient screw, and an ancient spring, all of which are used in ancient machinery. With respect to the ancient gear, despite being incredibly old, its build quality is leaps and bounds above anything built using current technology. When it comes to the ancient spring, we know that no matter how many times it is compressed, it never loses tension. And when it comes to ancient screws, it's made of an unknown material, and no matter how many times it's turned, its threads never appear to show sign of wear. Thus, all 3 of these component parts are old, durable, and were used in ancient machinery, and ancient machinery was heavily present in the Lanayru mining facility in Skyward Sword, as that location featured all of the various types of ancient robots. There's no doubt that parallels exist between the various mechanical ancient robots and the various iteration of the Guardians in Breath of the Wild, including the big ones we've seen roaming around Hyrule, the smaller ones in the shrines, as well as the one which Nintendo released a screenshot of. Interestingly, there are also flying Guardians which likely are powered by the same technology as the Centropes in Skyward Sword. Similar to the Guardians, the various ancient robots are all in an inactive state, but unlike the Guardians, which are activated when Link is in close proximity to them, these robots are activated when a Timeshift stone is activated. It's possible that the Sheikah modified or altered their original technology to make these Guardians become activated when the enemy was close in proximity. Of course, these Guardians were corrupted by Calamity Ganon, so the enemy effectively became Link. Moving on, we know that some Guardians are just completely out of service, similar to the inactive ancient robots that we can see behind the scrap shop in Bazaar on Skyloft, which Link is able to revive using the oil extract from the ancient flower, which begs the question whether a similar situation might play out in Breath of the Wild with the flowers we've seen. I believe that the Guardians are connected and can be traced back to the various ancient robots found in Skyward Sword, as the similarities between them are too numerous to ignore, including the fact that all of them are initially in an inactive state until some energy trigger activates them, all of them are robots, and all of them were built by technologically advanced civilizations, which I believe are the Sheikah. For example, the similarities between the BMOs and the Guardians are even more profound, as both of them fire blue laser beams from their eyes, and the weakness of each of them is their eye. In addition, the similarities between the various iterations of the Guardians, as their name suggests, and the BMOs and Centrobes is also revealing, as all three of these robots clearly act as security robots, surveilling and protecting the areas in which they are located. And we know that some Guardians in the shrines can have their blades and even their arms destroyed and detached, similar to Servo, the mechanical pirate captain and mini-boss from Timeshift Dungeon, who is powered by the same technology that powered the other ancient robots and who loses an arm after being attacked. Moreover, we can see that both the various types of ancient robots as well as the various types of Guardians all emit a bright blue energy aura. For example, the ancient robots' arms are connected to their bodies with this mysterious blue energy, likely from the Timeshift stones, and the BMOs shoot a blue laser, just like the Guardians from Breath of the Wild. In addition, a closer look at the two mini-bosses from the temples in Skyward Sword, Servo and Dreadfuse, also have a distinct blue aura that radiates from their attacks. In short, the bright blue energy is clearly present with all of the ancient robots as well as the two mini-bosses when they do various attacks. And this same bright blue energy glow also emanates from the Guardians' damaged arm right here. Even more interesting, there's actually a Sheikah stone in the Lanayru sand area, which tells us that there's a dragon in the Lanayru Desert who loves putting the abilities of those who visit him to the test. And we're told by Impa that the goddess Hylia gave the Thunder Dragon the power to protect the Lanayru province. This is very similar to the Sheikah monks who tell Link at the beginning of each shrine that in the name of the goddess Hylia they are offering this trial. Thus, both the monks from Breath of the Wild, as well as Lanayru the dragon from Skyward Sword, are tasked by the goddess Hylia to place Link through trials. This is significant as Impa from Skyward Sword tells us that the Sheikah are the goddess Hylia's chosen guardians. In addition to all of this, it's notable that from a visual perspective, the design, pattern, and colors of Link's quiver, which we've seen him wear both in recent screenshots as well as going all the way back to the very first trailer, is extremely similar to the design, pattern, and colors of the ancient robots, BMOs, Armos, and Centrobes from the Lanayru Desert region in Skyward Sword. In fact, the three primary colors of this quiver are teal or glowy bright color blue, orange, and rust, which is a darker red and orange color. These three colors are also the primary colors on the ancient robots, BMOs, Armos, and Centrobes. This same pattern is also found on the mining carts as well as the areas that hold the Timeshift stones. Given what we know about a possible past and present component in Breath of the Wild that will likely go back at least 100 years, and considering that the Timeshift stone technology, when activated, transformed and returned the area in question back to its exact shape several hundred years ago, it's likely that the same technology, perhaps with the use of the Sheikah Slate, will be the manner in which Link is able to transform back and forth between the past and the present. Finally, despite their great efforts, the Sheikah's design and construction of these various mechanical robots was not without fault, as the various iterations of the Guardians were unfortunately susceptible to being corrupted by the Calamity Ganon, as evidenced by the bright glowing pink color. The old man describes the Sheikah as an advanced civilization that inhabited Hyrule and saved Hyrule time and time again through their power and wisdom. However, their civilization disappeared long ago, or we are told, but something of the Sheikah might still remain hidden away in shrines. And as we've also seen, there appears to be a Sheikah town, perhaps Kakariko Village or Hidden Village, which is likely hidden away. But despite their great technology, why did the Sheikah disappear, in the old man's words? Whatever the reason, and we'll know soon enough, they clearly had a contingency plan, as they had built these great towers and shrines, each housed with a monk, so that even in the event that everything else turned against them, like the Guardians being corrupted by Calamity Ganon, that they would still have these powerful towers and shrines that could rise up from the ground when the right person, Link in this instance, woke up from the Sheikah Shrine of Resurrection and activated these towers and shrines with the Sheikah Slate. The Sheikah's ultimate goal was to defeat Ganon, as the monks make clear, and despite some of their failings, the Sheikah were smart enough to put Link in some sort of a state where he could either be revived or recovered after likely having suffered substantial injuries or even death. And they had the monks set up the trials so that Link could slowly learn the various skills and abilities, including runes, he would need to ultimately defeat Calamity Ganon. And who knows, perhaps some Sheikah defected. We'll find out soon enough. Well, that marks the conclusion of this theory. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and with several days to go until Breath of the Wild's final release, I'm curious to see what you guys think. Also, please don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with family and friends. And if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, as I'll have a ton of Breath of the Wild and other Zelda-related analysis and theories in the days to come. This has been Gogs Gaming. Have a wonderful day.